The real estate industry in Kenya is undergoing major transformation, with the sector currently growing at a rate of about 10% per annum. This has seen the proliferation of unregistered and unregulated estate agencies. And that's why the Estates Agency Registration Board comes into play. This week on Inside Government, we are talking to the chairperson of Estate Agency Registration Board, Eunice Macharia. She's going to explain to us what the board is doing to bring professionalism and, of course, to bring sanity into this industry. Thank you very much indeed for joining us here. You're talking about an industry that has more than 10,000 unregistered estate agencies. How do you plan to bring these unregistered agencies into the registration purview?
Thank you, Brian, for that question. Actually, we estimate a figure of more than 10,000. 10,000 is a reserved figure on the persons that we suspect are operating outside of the law. And when we say outside of the law, is that because the law is very clear that for you to operate as an estate agent, you must be registered with the Estate Agents Registration Board. Currently, we have a membership of about 3,000, and we suspect that over 10,000 persons are in the market doing the practice of estate agency in one form or another without registration. And the board is working very hard to ensure that we bring everybody under the ambit of the law and under the registration of the Estate Agents Registration Board.
What has been the impact of having so many unregistered and regulated practitioners in your industry?
One of the major challenges, of course, is the blockers or the quacks misleading the public. And you find that someone will sell to you a property and maybe even overcharge or work outside of the regulations and the rules that have been provided, even under the Estate Agents Registration Board. I'll quote for you an example. You find an agent or a broker, as we call them, marketing a property. They'll come to you, O'Brien, as the owner of the property. Possibly you are marketing that property for, say, 10 million. And the broker or the agent, quack, will ask you to sign up for them a contract, and they want to sell that property for 15 million and give you 10 million. You know, the law is very clear on the charges by estate agents, and it provides a schedule of the fees that are supposed to be charged. So when someone comes and tells you that you share more or less the value or the price for which you get your property at, that is properly irregular and is illegal because it's outside of what the law has provided. Then you find others who mislead the public. For example, say they are marketing a property, say on the bypass, for example, just taking that as an example. And they will tell you this 1 acre is for commercial purposes. The person who is advising you as a buyer that this property is commercial have no knowledge of the planning regulations. They have not even bothered to go to the planning department at the county to find out what is allowed for that location, or what is planned for that location, or zoned for that location. So you buy a property on the bypass, maybe 1 acre, hoping to do a commercial property, to develop a commercial property on that land. Only to find out when you present your plans to the planning department at the county that actually what you bought was a residential property, and you cannot do the kind of developments that you had planned for. So you paid a premium price for this land, but when now it comes to development, you start a tussle with the local government or with the county government. So they are saying this property is zoned for residential, and you are saying I bought it for commercial. I was at the Kiambu planning office and I faced a lot of those challenges myself. Someone comes and says, I bought this land, it is reserved for a school, but I want to build a church. And you say you cannot build a church because this property has been reserved for the school. But the person who sold that property to that developer did not advise them properly. So you find
Would you
these
say
kind of
this is
challenges.
because of negligence, of lack of due diligence, or outright ignorance?
Let me put it this way. Estate agency is a profession. You cannot go into medicine unless you go to school and do medicine. So why do you want to practice estate agency if you have not even bothered to study the art or the science of estate agency? So you find people in their retirement, or you don't have something else to do, you're idle, or you have no other career, and then you want to go into estate agency without properly preparing yourself for the task that is ahead.
But as ERB, I mean, the requirements for somebody to be registered as an agent is at least a Form 4 certificate and at least 2 years of experience working with a registered agency and a certificate of good conduct.
Precisely. And you see, that's where our
So then what other training do I need?
That is where our problems emanates from, O'Brien. In that, what we call the grandmother's or the grandfather clause in the Act, that you have an Act that says for you to practice as an estate agent, you need to have a degree in real estate or related, or a degree that is recognized by the board, or a diploma, or a certificate. And then someone in 1987 sneaked in across to say that even having a certificate of good conduct is good enough. But the Act mandates the board, yeah? The Act mandates the board to ensure there is high competency of the persons who are practicing real estate agency. And that is why we take the applicants through a process where you apply, we evaluate you, then we conduct an interview to ensure that the person who is coming before us and the person that we are certified to go out and practice as an estate agency is competent. Is competent to practice as an estate agent. Either they have gone to school, and we have referred many of them back to school, and some of them have taken us seriously. They have gone and done a diploma in real estate agency. They are being offered by universities. Some have gone and done a certificate in real estate agency. And when they come back to us, they say, thank you. Thank you for referring me to go and do this course, because it has prepared me, it has taught me the property laws. I have been taught the processes and the procedures for estate agency, and that person is competent.
And I like the fact that you have talked about, you know, that somebody went and sneaked these in. And, you know, we are talking about an act that was enacted back in 1987.
Yes.
That was 3 years after, actually 4 years after the Estate Act was passed. And if this is what the law says, then how is it then my mistake if my highest level of qualification is a Form 4 certificate, and I have a certificate of good conduct from the Kenya Police, and what else? And 2 years worth of experience. If I have that, then why shouldn't I be registered?
No, we are not saying you're not going to be registered, but the board is going to confirm that you are competent. That when you tell us that you have 2 years experience, it is actually 2 years of active experience and a registered estate agent. Someone who has taken time to take you through the process and the ropes of practicing as an estate agency. Someone who has exposed you to the laws and the regulations that guide the practice of estate agency. Someone who has actually taught you how it is done. It is not because we take coffee or we have a drink once in a while with O'Brien, then you come and say, I've been learning under so and so. It's because that person who is tutoring you has taken time to take you through. And I'll tell you, if you did that, and you have people who are coming to us working under estate agency, agents who are registered for 5 years, 10 years, and some of them are very competent. They have taken time and taken it upon themselves to update and appraise themselves and teach themselves about the laws and the regulations that are relevant. And this information is available even online. If you go to to the internet, you get all the laws, property laws that are there.
Is it high time then, this provision of this act is then repealed or revealed?
We are working on the review of the Estate Agents Act because, as you rightly say, this is a 1987 act that has been taken by many things, including the 2010 Constitution. We have many land-related laws and regulations that have come into place. The last one being the Section of Properties Act that was passed in 2022, I believe. We also have physical planning laws and regulations that have come into place recently. We have many other acts that are related to real estate that have also been passed. And of course, the passage of time in itself, things have changed. We are working in a different timeline than 1987, and worldwide, economically, socially, and politically, things have changed. Together with the review of the Act, we are also looking at several other regulations that will help to regulate the industry. One of them is the categorization of estate agents. And this is, we have sent a draft that is currently undergoing public participation. And what we are aiming to achieve through the categorization of estate agents is that, like any other industry, we have players in the real estate industries at different levels. We have people who have, like we are saying, who have gone to school, done a degree in real estate or in BLR economics. We have people who have gone even up to master's level, up to PhD level. We also have other players who have done diploma courses. We have people who have done certificates. We have other people like the caretakers, the site agents, some of them who have not really gone to school, and who might even fall under the category of an O-level or a Form 4 certificate. And we are trying to place all these people at their place so that everybody is able to actively practice what they can at their level. And I think that is going to help us to bring in everybody who is practicing estate agency under the regulations. Because if you go to the medical sector, you find you have a doctor, we have a surgeon, we have a nurse, we have a clinical officer, we have others who just support, we have technicians, we have different people who play different roles in the sector. And that is what we are recognizing when we are saying, let it categorize. So if you're a broker and you want to do nothing else but just bring two people together, then we give you a chance to practice that, but within the law. If you are a caretaker, then we also bring you under the ambit of the law and recognize that you're offering the service of a caretaker. And what this will also help us is that we'll be able to now register everybody, even those who may feel at the moment that they do not qualify. We'll be able to come in. And then if you want to develop yourself, then you can go through the ranks and find yourself in the highest category that we are providing.
You see, when you look at the Kenyan Estate Act of 1987, I mean, it borrows heavily from the Estate Agents Act of the United Kingdom of 1979. And when you look at, the UK Act, it has undergone through about 5 major reviews. But when you look at our act, it hasn't gone through any review since 1987. Yes. And so does this mean that we are operating in an environment whereby the law in itself is outdated and defective?
I would not say defective, but I would say outdated, yes. The law is outdated because the circumstances and the environment of practicing real estate agency in 1987 is totally different from what we have today. Things have changed. We are in an era of information technology. We have, when I went to school, I think our class we were only 30 who were admitted countrywide to go in that class, in the BLR economics. Right now, the universities that are producing graduates in real estate agency, I think they are producing over 200 in a year.
Every year?
Yeah, every year. So things have changed. And that's why we are saying we do not lack professionals now in real estate agency, and possibly why the grandfather clause should now disappear. Because now we have graduates from the university who have studied real estate agency who can come in and take on the role of practicing that. So we don't have a shortage anymore. Like I said, when I went to school, we were only 30. So every year we only produced 30. And you can imagine most of them were absorbed by the government in the civil service. So the rest of the industry was left without players. But now I think the universities are producing enough graduates.
And why do you think it has taken us this long, to sit down and say, hey, wait a minute, look, the industry is changing, the environment is changing, the dynamics are different. Why has it taken us this long to sit down and review and relook into the Estate Agency Act?
I could say this is a process that has been ongoing, possibly for the last 5 years. And the Act, as it were, is at an advanced stage because it has gone through the public participation. It has been taken to the Attorney General's office for review. The AG has referred it back to the ministry for some corrections. The ministry has prepared it, and they are now ready to present it again to the AG. So I would say it's an advanced stage. And also, Brian, you realize that for everything you need someone to drive the process. You need someone who is passionate enough to drive the process. And I would say possibly we have the right people in the office now.
Now,
Yeah.
you earlier on you talked about the payment schedule and as well as the percentages. An agent is supposed to be paid once a deal is executed. Would you want to explain to us what is the percentage and how is the payment schedule?
That's a good question, O'Brien. The Estate Agents Act, we have the Remuneration Amendment Rules of 2002. And the schedule for the first 100,000, so if you are selling a property, say, for 10 million, on the first 100,000, you charge 10%. 10%? Yeah, on the first 100,000.
So that's 10,000 shillings.
Yeah, that's 10,000 shillings. On the next 900,000, you charge 6%.
6%?
Yes.
On the 900,000?
Yeah, on the next 900,000. On the residue, the balance now from your 10 million, you charge 3%. Yet you find an agent who tells you, O'Brien, you want 10 million. So they'll go to the market. First of all, they overprice the property. They ask for 14 million or 13 million. Then the property takes too long to sell because they are asking for a higher price than the market. Then they'll make you sign a contract to say that for everything above 10 million, that is theirs. So
is that illegal?
No, it's illegal. It's totally illegal. And you don't have to pay them because, first of all, this person who is asking you for such kind of fees and commissions, I can guarantee you they are not registered.
But wait a minute.
And you don't even have to pay a person who is not registered.
Well, but wait a minute. I mean, if we agree that
and you cannot sign a contract.
Eunice, if you're selling your property,
yes,
and you come to me, approach me,
yeah,
as an agent,
yes,
whether registered or not, you approach me and you tell me, hey, look here, O'Brien, I have my 5 acres of land that I'm selling,
right,
and I'm offering this property at 10 million shillings. But for you, you just go to the market, you get somebody who is willing to buy that property at 15 million shillings.
Precisely.
I mean, where is the illegality in that?
Apply the scale.
You apply the scale?
Yes.
So if we were to apply the scale, then there is no illegality there?
No, there's no illegality. If I sell it for 10 million, if I sell it for 15 million, I apply the scale.
But I'm not supposed to come up with a blanket figure and tell you, hey, look here, if I sell your property at 15 million shillings, then 5 million shillings is mine.
No, that's outside the law.
So what are you doing as an agency?
And first of all, the person you are signing up with, if they are not registered, that contract cannot be enforced.
So what are you doing then to ensure that the law is enforced?
First of all, we are going out to the market and telling the public, do not engage persons who are not registered with the Estate Agents Registration Board. And I'm happy that the market is listening. If you look at most of the adverts that are coming out now, especially from big companies and banks, they are insisting that for those jobs that are real estate related, the persons who are applying must attach a copy of their registration certificate.
From the
board. From the board. So that is a positive indicator that the message is cutting across. We are putting up advertisements every year, twice a year, in the newspapers to tell the public, because we are the ones, we are the consumers of these services. And we are telling the public, do not engage persons who are not registered. And if in the process of registration and you're doing the business, you realize that this person is not registered, you don't have to pay them.
Apart from public sensitization, what other measures are you doing to ensure that you nip the bud in the head?
We are also engaging, sometimes in this trade you also have to play hardball. So we are also engaging with the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, because as a statutory board, we can engage all the other arms of government as it is necessary for them to assist us in enforcing the law. So we are engaging with the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, and we engage with the prosecutor, the Public Prosecutor's Office, and we also engage with the police. And we believe that they will help us to rein on the quacks and the unregistered estate agents. But the drive that we've been pushing, which we believe it will yield for us better results in the end, is to appeal to these unregistered estate agents. And I don't even know why I'm calling them estate agents. Oh, they are not. They are quacks. To appeal to the unregistered persons who are practicing estate
or
entities.
entities.
Yes, entities. To come and apply for registration.
Regularize their membership.
Regularize their membership. Yeah. And this is yielding fruit, because in the last, we are registering close to over 500 persons every year. And the numbers have increased. In the last intake that we did, we had over 100 persons applying in only one session for registration. And I can see the numbers going higher than that. So we are appealing to them before we get to them, to tell them, before we knock on your door with the police or with the DCI, come. Because our doors are open. And regularize your registration. And we'll take you through the process and we'll give you a certificate.
Do you have your own inspectors?
As of now, we do not have inspectors that are assigned to us. But we are working with the DCI to sign an MOU. And we are asking the DCI office to give us a dedicated office, a liaison office in their department, so that we are able to process this request very quickly.
So if you don't have your own, enforcement officers, going around to check for licenses,
yes,
then is there any way then are you likely to enforce compliance?
No, we are going there. We are going there. I can tell you for sure, because we are right now concentrating on building up our structures. And we have partners who are working with us, including the Ministry of Lands and Department of Housing and Urban Planning, who are working with us to ensure that. Once that is done, once we have the structures, and part of those structures will be asking the police and asking the IG to give us officers who are going to assist us in enforcement.
And as we come to the end of this interview, I mean, the second Estate Agents Conference is taking place, in October. Tell us something about it.
Yes, we had a very successful conference in 2021, despite the COVID menace that we were going through. right here at Safari Park. We have organized these conferences on every 2 years basis, what we call biennial. And this year, the conference is going to take place right here at the Safari Park Hotel on the 6th of October, 2023. And some of the persons that we have invited are the estate agents, the Ministry of Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development. They are partnering with us in this conference. We also have other partners like the Institution of Surveyors of Kenya, the Building Surveyors Association Board is also partnering with us. The Valuers Board is partnering with us. We have several banks who have come on board to partner with us. We have also partnering with Safaricom in the conference and many other players. So we are going to have to be discussing very topical issues. We are calling it re-engineering the real estate sector for emerging realities. And this covers everything that we have even talked about here. The emerging regulations, emerging technologies, emerging practices. We have emerging generations. There are new generations all the time, but you have to take cognizance of them. Their way of doing things is different. They are exposed to different things. Their challenges are different. So how do we incorporate all this and the changing environment politically, socially, economically? Everything has changed. We have a global village now. You can be able to contact anyone, anywhere in the world within no time, really. So we are saying, how does the real estate industry react? Or how do we align ourselves to the emerging realities? And that is a very topical and very relevant discussion for us today. And that's where we are inviting all the professionals in the real estate industry. We are inviting developers, we are inviting circles, we are inviting banks because they offer loans. We are inviting the ministries and other regulators and government agencies, the national housing corporations and others to come and sit with us, and we learn from each other as professionals, we learn from each other as players in the industry, we learn from each other and define our future together. Because it's for all of us, it's for our children, and we need to actively and purposefully define that going forward, so that we don't just sit back like you asked me about the law. What have we been doing for all these years? We don't want a future generation to come and say, what were they doing all these years? So we want to take the opportunity to just come together and address those issues that affect us together. So I'm welcoming you, O'Brien. Will you be there?
Let's see my dad.
And I'm welcoming everybody else who is a player in the real estate industry to come in as a delegate, or you can also come in as a sponsor. You can also come in and pitch your tent. We'll give you some space where you can set up a booth and you can discuss and, with the delegates on the products that you are offering, whether it's a developer, whether it's a service provider, whether you are offering a professional service. All of them are welcome to team up with us.
Very good. And I'm sure they have heard.
Yes.
Eunice, thank you very much indeed for finding time to be with us, and of course for helping us understand the role of the Estates Registration Board. Your time is highly appreciated.
Thank you. I would say what we are trying to do, and we welcome everyone who wants to support us, is just to bring sobriety in the industry and bring order. We don't want people to lose their money to quacks. We don't want people to lose money through other amorphous organizations that are not defined properly. We want people to, when you earn your money, you're able to invest it with confidence in the country, because we want to bring that confidence in the industry.
Eunice Macharia is the chairperson of the Estate Agents Registration Board, joining us on this week's episode of Inside Government to break it down for us what the board is doing to bring sanity into this industry. My name is O'Brien Kimani. You have been watching Inside Government. Thank you very much indeed for your time. Have a good afternoon. We'll see you again on Friday next week. Bye for now.